Hello, my name is Zaskia Nisa Salsabila from the class MB4808 with NIM 10401240059. Here I will explain material application of linear function. First, demand function. Demand is the various quantities of goods demanded at different price levels. The amount of goods demanded greatly depends on the price level of those goods. If the price falls, the quantity of goods demanded increases. This is the formula function Q equal F multiplied P, Q equal A min BP, P equal A per B min 1 per B Q. Q quantity of goods, P price of goods, A B parameters. Example, non-request function Q equal 100 min 5P determine the request among if A price 10, B price 15. Answer if P equal 10, Q equal 100 min 5 multiplied 10, 100 min 50 equal 50. B, if P equal 15, Q 100 min 5 multiplied 15, 100 min 75 equal 25. And supply function. The supply function is a function that shows the relationship between the quantity of product overhead QS by producer for sale and the price of the product P. This is the formula supply function. Q equal F multiply P, Q equal min A plus BP, P equal A per B plus 1 per BQ. Example, it is known that when the price of an item is 10,000, the amount of rent is 20 units. When the price increases to 15,000, the amount of rent increases to 40 units. Determine the supply function is in the form of Q equal A plus BP. Point 1 equal P1 10,000, Q1 20. Point 2, P2 equal 15,000, Q2 40. Calculate the value of B. B equal Q2 min Q1 per P2 min P1. 40 min 20 per 15,000 min 10,000 equal 20 per 5,000 equal 0,004. Substitution of one of the point into the formula Q equal A plus BP. Point P 10,000, Q 20, 20 equal A plus 0,004 multiplied 10,000. 20 equal A plus 40, A equal min 20. So, supply function Q equal min 20 plus 0,004P. Thank you.
Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Masahman Farhan Ajhari, class MB4808, and my student ID number is 1040124000270. Today I will be presenting the topic application of partial differential function. Dimension with concern using the Lagrange method. What is differential? Differential is a branch of mathematics that studies the rates of the change of a function. It helps us understand how one quantity of y changes in response to a change in another quantity of x. The core concept is the derivatives which measures the slope of a function's curve and the specific point. Intuitive value, the derivative tells you how steep a graph is at a given point, or how quickly a value is changing. Next, why is differential function important? Differential functions are one of the most fundamental concepts in calculus. With wide-ranging application is various files such as force, height to determine velocity, acceleration, and force. 2. Economic to analysis growth rates, maximum profit, and marginal cost. Last, engineering to design efficiency structure and optimize process. Next, basic concepts derivative. The derivative of a function f of x at a point x is written as f the prime of x or dx dy. It presents the instantaneous rate of change of y with respect to x. Geometrically, the derivative is the slope of the tangent line of the curve f of x at the point. Next, basic differential rules. There are several basic rules that simplify finding derivatives. First, Paul rule. If of x equals the power of n, the f prime of x equals n times x to the power of n minus 1. 2. Example, if of x equals x cubed, then f prime of x equals 3x squared. Constant rule, if f of x equals t cube constant, then phi prime of x equals 0. Example, if of x equals 5, then phi prime of x equals 0. Sample question calculating rocket velocity. The best way to learn is by doing actual math equation. Duplicate this page as many times as needed to give you more space for elaboration step-by-step solution. First, understand the goal. We need to find the velocity in the context of psych and calculus. Velocity is the rate of change of position of height with respect to time. This means we need to find the first derivatives of the height function h of t. Next, find the first derivative h prime of t. Write the height function h of t equals 5t plus negative 2 plus 2. Apply the for rule to each term. For 5t plus the derivative of plus cube or plus 1 is 1 plus 1 negative 1 equals 1 plus 0 equals 1. So 15 multiply x multiply 1 equals 15. Simple 2. For negative 2 plus 2, the derivative of plus 2 is 2 multiply plus 2 negative 1 equals 2t. So negative 2 of 2t equals negative 4t. Combine the result h of t equals 15 negative 4t. This h, the prime is the rocket velocity function anytime. Last, subtracting the required time, the problem asks for the velocity at the seconds, so that t equals 5 into the derivative function. We found h prime of 5 equals 5t, negative 4 of 5 half of 5 equals 5t, negative 12 half of 5 equals 30. Conclusion, the velocity of the rocket at the second is 30 meters per second. Next, example problem 2, determining optimal point, maximum and minimum. Problem A, store cell gauges and the profit function of fee in thousand of rupiah from selling X unit is the given by P of X equals negative 2x2 plus 18 x negative 100. How many units must be sold for the store to achieve maximum profit? First, understand the problem. Maximum profit occurs when the rate of change of profit becomes zero at the peak of the curve. This means we need to find the first derivative p prime of x and should equal to p prime of x, p prime of x negative 2x word plus d over x up dx minus d over dx 100. P prime of x equals negative 4x plus 80. Let's set phi prime to 0 to find optimal. X negative 4 x plus 18 equals 0. 18 equals 4 x equals 480. Conclusion, the store must sell 12 units gadget to achieve maximum profit. Next, here are sample problem you can try, guys. Differential function are a powerful mathematical tool for understanding change, rate, and optimization. I hope this presentation has give you insight into how fundamental this concept is across many areas of life and science. Thank you for attention.
Hello, my name is Kayla Biantari Alika and I'm from class MB4808 with student ID 104012400120. Today I will be presenting the topic for week 14, which is the Lagrange method. But first, what is the Lagrange method? It is a procedure for finding maximum and minimum values of a function of several variables when the variables are restricted by additional conditions. How does it work? First, let us consider the problem of optimizing. That means we are either trying to maximize or minimize the value of a function that has two variables. Second, subject to the constraint. However, there's a catch. We can just choose any values of x and y. We are restricted by a condition called a constraint. This means x and y must satisfy a certain equation. We use the Lagrange multiplier method, which helps us find the maximum or minimum of a function under a constraint. To do this, we create a new function called the Lagrangian. After forming the Lagrangian, we take partial derivatives of this with respect to x, y, and lambda. Set all those derivatives equal to 0. This one. Solve the system of equation to find x, y, and lambda. Plug those values back into the original function to find the maximum or minimum value. Next step is to classify the solution. After finding critical points that satisfy the Lagrange conditions, we want to classify these points to know if they correspond to a maximum, minimum, or neither. First, you set up the Lagrangian function, and then you solve the system, and this gives you the critical points, which is xo and yo, and the multiplier is lambda. Now let's try an example to understand how the Lagrange method works. So we have determined the extreme value of c equals xy with the condition x plus 2y equals 10. The objective function, which is the function we want to maximize or minimize, in this case, the function is this one. And the constraint, which represents the condition that must be satisfied, and this is the constraint. To apply the method, we construct a new function called the Lagrangian, which incorporates the original function in the constraint. And we use a new variable, which is lambda, known as the Lagrange multiplier. So next, we take the first derivative, which is this one, with respect to x, y, and z, and we set all of them to 0, and makes us have equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3, which is the constraint. Next, from equation 1, we have a lambda equals min y. Substitute the equation 1 into equation 2, which we have x plus 2 times min y equals 0, and we have x equals 2y. We put this into equation 3, which is this. So we have the x is 2y, so 2y plus 2y equals 10. And then we have y equals 2.5. Next, we use the equation 4 again and substitute the y, which is 2.5, into it. So x equals 2 times 2.5 equals 5. So that's the value of x and y. So now let's check the value of the function. So it's x times y, which is 5 times 2.5. So the value of the function is 12.5. So next, we want to find out if the point xy is the 2.5 and 5 is a maximum, minimum, or neither. To do this, we will use something called bordered Hessian matrix. The constraint is x plus 2y equals 10, and from the previous step, we found the extreme point is 5 and 2.5. Next, write the Lagrangian function again, this, and find the second partial derivatives of this one. These are used to fill the center of the Hessian matrix. So we have 0, 0, and 1. Next, find the first derivative of the constraint function, which is g bracket x and y equals x plus 2y minus 10, which we have this. Next, we form the matrix using the values above. So this is 0 to 0, gx, gx, and 1, 1. Fxx is 0, gy is 2, fxy is 1, gy is 2, fxy is 1, and the last one is fyy is 0. Next, let's find the determinant. This is the first term, is 0 times 0 minus 1 is equal 0. This is the second term. 1 times 1 times 0 minus 1 times 2 equals 2. And the third term is 2 times 1 times 1 minus 0 times 2 equals 2. And we have 0 plus 2 plus 2. So we have 4. Since the determinant of matrix H is greater than 0, the critical point at xy equals 5, 2.5 is relatively maximum. Why is that? That resulted from this. If H greater than 0, the solution yields a local maximum. And that's our final answer. That's the end of my explanation. I hope it was clear. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello everyone, my name is Kayla Anjali. So today I will explain about the topic of matrix. So first I will explain about the definition of matrix. Matrix is a set of elements arranged in rows and columns in a square shape, enclosed with square brackets. And then there are many types of matrix, such as square matrix, triangular matrix, diagonal matrix, identity matrix, and zero matrix. And then there are two types of vectors. The first one is row vector. Row vector is a row that goes horizontally, and the second one, column vector. Column vector is a row that goes vertically. And then order of matrix. Order of matrix is refers to the number of rows and columns in a matrix. It is usually written in the format m by n, where m is the number of rows and n is the number of columns. This is the example. In this picture, this is row 1, and then this is column 1, and then this is row 2, this is column 2, and etc. Next, we move to matrix operation. The first one is matrix addition. The main requirement for matrix addition is that both matrices must have the same order size, which means the same number of rows and the same number of columns. For example, this is matrix ABCD, matrix ABCD plus EFGH. Each element in the corresponding position is added together. So the answer is A plus E, B plus F, C plus G, and D plus H. And the second one is matrix subtraction. Just like matrix addition, the main requirement for matrix subtraction is that both matrices must have the same order size. For example, if the matrix ABCD is subtracted by EFGH, then A is subtracted by E, B is subtracted by F, C subtracted by G, and D subtracted by H. And this one, we have scalar multiplication with a matrix. Scalar multiplication with a matrix is the operation of multiplying each element in a matrix by a scalar. Example, we have a matrix ABCD with the scalar K. So every element in the matrix is multiplied by K. Next, we have matrix multiplication. In matrix multiplication, the formula used is row times column. For example, we have matrix ABCD and EFGH. So the way to do it is row times column. Row times column. Multiply A by E and add it to B multiplied G. And then A multiplied by F, B multiplied by H, C multiplied by E, D multiplied by G, C multiplied by F, D multiplied by H. For example, here we have an example problem. Calculate A times B and B times A. So the way to solve it is the same as before, row times column. So here we have matrix A 3, 2, 1, 4 and matrix B 6, 3, 5, 2. So the answer is 3 times 6 for this one, 2 times 5 for this one, 1 times 6 for this one, 4 times 5 for this one, and then 3 times 3 for this one, and then 2 times 2 for this one, 1 times 3 for this one, 4 times 2 for this one. So the answer is 28, 13, 26, and 9. And then the next material is vector multiplication. Here is an example problem. Given U 2 and 3 and V is 4, 1, and 5. Calculate U times V. So the answer is 2 multiplied by 4 for this one, and then 2 multiplied by 1 for this one, 2 multiplied by 5 for this one, and then for the second one is the same, 3 multiplied by 4 for this one, 3 multiplied by 1 for this one, and then 3 multiplied by 5 for this one, and then we just calculate it, and the answer is 8, 2, 10, 12, 3, and 15. Okay, next. The next material is determinant. A determinant is a scalar value that can be calculated from a square matrix. The determinant provides important information about the properties of the matrix, such as whether the matrix has an inverse. For example, matrix A is A, B, C, D. We subtract diagonally, so it's A times D minus C times B, like this. And now I will explain how to calculate the determinant of 3 times 3 matrix using the Sarus rule for this one. So here we have a 3.3 matrix. Matrix A is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. The first step is to copy the first two columns, this one, into the matrix to the right side. This one. This will help us clearly see the diagonal patterns. And then we start with the main diagonals going from the top left to the bottom right, and then we calculate three products: A times E times I, and then B times F times G, and C times D times H. We add these three products. These are shown by the red lines in the image. The red lines. Next, we calculate the opposite diagonals going from the bottom left to the top right. And the three products here are G times E times C, H times F times A, and then I times D times B. We also add these three results together, which are shown by the blue lines in the image. Finally, we subtract the sum of the blue diagonals from the sum of the red diagonals. This is the answer. And that gives us the determinant of the 3.3 matrix using the Sarus rule. And then the next materials is inverse. This is the formula for inverse. To find the inverse of a matrix, first we need to calculate the determinant, finding the cofactor, finding the adjoint, and finding the inverse. For example, we have matrix A, 8, 4, 5, and 3. And here is the answer. So the first one we have to find the determinant first. The determinant A is 8, 4, 5, and 3. And then we just multiply diagonal like this, and the answer is 8.3 minus 4.5. The answer is 4. And the second one, we have to find the cofactor. And the answer of the cofactor is 3 minus 5 minus 4 and 8. And then next we search the adjoint A. The adjoint of A is the transpose of the cofactor. So what was originally a row becomes a column, and what was a column becomes a row. So here's we got 3 minus 4 minus 9 and 8. And the last one, we calculate the inverse A using the formula. So the answer is this one. Next, the next material is linear equations using matrix. So a system of linear equations usually consists several equations that share the same variables, like this. This is the formula used. This is the formula used to find linear equations using matrix. A is for matrix A, X is for matrix X, and C is for matrix C. And here we have an example problem. Let's solve this together. First, we write down the given information. This is the given information. Next, this is the and then we have to find the minor. First is minor 1, 1. Minor 1, 1 is the determinant of the submatrix obtained by removing the first row and the first column from the original matrix. So minor 1, 1 is, we have to hide this, and we got the answer minus 1, 2, 5, and 3. And then for the minor 1, 2, we have to hide the row 1, row 1 and column 2. So we got 4, 2, minus 1, and 3. And then same for the other minor. And then after we got the answer, we have to calculate, and then we got the answer. And then after find the determinant, we move to cofactor. So this is how to find the cofactor. This is the formula for the cofactor, and then we just have to calculate. And then after find the cofactor, let's continue by working on the inverse matrix. Before we move to inverse matrix, we have to find the adjoint A. So same as before, adjoint A is the transpose of the cofactor. So the answer is minus 13, minus 14, 5, minus 14, 5, minus 8, 19, minus 13, and minus 14. And after that, we move to inverse matrix. We use this formula for the inverse matrix, and then we just have to calculate. just put the answer from adjoint A, and then after that we use this formula and then we calculate, and this is the final answer. Next, the next material is Cramer's rule. So to find Cramer's rule, we have to create the coefficient matrix and the constant factor, and then calculate the determinant of matrix A, calculate the determinants of A1 and A2, and then substitute into Cramer's formula. This is the Cramer's formula, and then A is determinant of coefficient matrix, and A with I is the determinant of matrix A with the I column replaced by the constant factor, or we can call it C. And here is the example problem. First, we have to create the coefficient matrix and the constant factor. This is the problem that we have to solve it. First, we have to create the coefficient matrix and the constant factor. So here we have, and then after that, calculate the determinant for matrix A. Same as before, to find determinant is we have to multiply diagonally. So this is the answer, and then we have to calculate the determinant A1 and A2. And then here is the answer. We have to multiply it diagonally, and then after that substitute into Cramer's rule. Just put the answer from determinant A1 and A2 into the formula. So here the answer we got. Okay, so that's all from me regarding the matrix material. I hope my explanation is clear and well received. I apologize if there were any parts that were unclear or if my language was lacking. That's all from me. Thank you very much.